Inside the shadow of Geneva, underneath, a human shock lies on the surface of the Earth. Inventiveness and an anticipated sign of destruction of the evil Hadron Collider. It is a manual of intelligent assessment, enabling researchers to investigate the overall subatomic and stimulating the revelation of God's mysterious molecule, a Higgs boson. Back at this point, as Brian Cox, a well-known physicist, has recently made a chilling announcement that caused waves of wonder to some stage in the theological neighborhood region where a particular focus has been investigated. Something at CERN that could have accomplished more than our primary understanding is objective for enlightening. Informational set us on a course of action with calamity. Oblige us as we dive into the bottom of this lucid problem, but sooner. Subsequently, we bob into the statement. Details regarding the significant gas molecule petals that the enormous Hadron Collider, LHC, used using CERN, a 17-mile-wide ring of the field's superconducting magnets, and most noteworthy and generally outrageous powerful molecule smasher. It watches at the top of human reasonability, achieving the actuality of the situation. It is so strong that it can recapitulate the actual states of the universe's creation to the world. Yet should this structure, plan to open universe estimates from the inside, keep an eye out for the path to something. CERN's situation is clearly more troubling. Laid out in 1954, it is one of the world's most important well-known review relationships with 23 states and segments, and a tremendously extensive collection of experts. It is a middle center for joint effort and enhancements. The LHC is the most important undertaking, however a component of a vast association of fuel petals, and Spike obviously anticipates, but not really for horses or motors. This tune is for particles that are subatomic, and it's a race towards presence itself. The LHC speeds up protons to basically the speed of light, sending them on a miscap course that mirrors the energy of the universe at the epic's peak blast. The impacts make temperatures 1,000,000 times hotter than the focal point on the sun. With a huge diameter, numerous magnets direct the protons' movement. Their visit while the sun shone brightly. Frameworks shield the magnets at temperatures that are colder than space, contain 1232 winning dipole magnets, the quadrupole magnets, and the shafts, which obsession are the bars earlier, rather than a more noticeable type of influence. The magnet is used to press particles together to growth possibilities of effects. The errand of CERN is to exert influence like completion. 2 6mm needles contained in such that they conform to the precision required is astounding. The advancement unmatched. The LHC's plan is a shock of arranging. It solidifies too close by the same kind of support. 574 toes were stowed away by misrepresentation. On a deeper level, protected from the radiation of the fields, on this beneath the surface of the entire edge framework, is brought down to the temperature of 456 degrees Fahrenheit, colder than space itself. This cool climate is essential to enable the superconducting magnets to ideally work. The support focuses in the 4 districts are targeted as LHC crash sites across the ring of the gas pedal, differently in relation to the areas offer molecule markers, Atlas, CMS, Alice, and LHCb. Each fills an unusual need to look into unique aspects of section on material science. Overall, they accomplish relatively great things. Cameras capturing images of those effects that experts then eliminate through the junk, sifting through evidence of, anyway, the subtle Higgs boson, suggested as the God particle. An extraordinary sign of whimsy for it's like the fundamental plan of the universe, checking an inestimable jigsaw and puzzle in which the pieces are obscure, and the image makes it difficult to. By concentrating on the microcosm, we gain bits of expertise into the universe. Nevertheless, with each response comes another solicitation, and with each another indication that the LHC is not truly a canny instrument. It is a sign of recreation movement by humans and movement. It epitomizes our picked venture for information and our yearning to sort out the fundamental forces that, however, as we do, structure our universe. Push the limits of what we understand. Want to also keep the lesson in mind, and existential solicitations that find out what the risks of studying are. The neglected world ought to unexpectedly striving for dominance open powers we have zero power over control within the sanctified passageways of CERN, in which the CFF points of human comprehension is constantly pushed. There has been a revelation that sends a screen that will send even the most. Brian Cox, a coordinated SE researcher, previous scientist at CERN, and a voice of expert in the space of molecule actual science, has as of past due made a declaration that is no longer in the area. Cox's were both captivated and shocking. The words reverberate with a terrible conceivability. The goal of the massive Hadron Collider will reproduce a small but significant impact. Without a doubt, you heard that right, a more modest than expected kind of the very event that introduced the universe. In advance, physicists resulted in the same thing. Feel of the results of this goal offering the LHC extraordinary capacity. This integrates for creating new openings, its capacity to open the insider information of the Higgs boson. Furthermore, the assessment of darkish Re, a substance that makes up a central piece of the universe. Consider safeguarding the kind to show up for your float close by the ability to call the certifiable. The universe's substance is enticing. Open door, nevertheless one loaded with risk that is less noticeable than anticipated. The enormous bang isn't without a question a theoretical thought. Inside the LHC, this is an incredible fact. The temperatures, the tensions, the rough energy, all copy the states of that is the universe's fundamental steps to light continue from the beginning significant length of recorded history, recognizing the nearness of presence itself, however, possesses such strength, genuine dedication, and the request addresses the limit risk. Consider what is happening where something turns out gravely. Something became out genuinely. In 1978, the Russian physicist Anatoly Bugorsky experienced a catastrophe that could frequently divert his methodologies of life. In 1978, Bugorsky became chipping away at the U-70 synchrotron on the high-energy affiliation Actual Science in control of Russia. A breakdown incited his head, by the way, entering the event planning process for a proton shaft. The support point with the power that conflicts with data went through his skull, and into his back his head and leaving, through his nose. Bugorsky's appreciation changed into remarkable. He seen a streak more, noticeable despite striking more than 1,000 children. He had no issues. The marks of help way left a method of decimation, ingesting tissue despite bone. He remained eager and certain, even strolled around the center for treatment. The outcome changed into each enchantment and sickening. The support focuses way set off confined tissue passing a bill that doesn't get paid consideration regarding in one ear and halfway face development shortfall. However, Bugorsky's is without a doubt academic potential remained salvageable form, and he carried on. This event is not his actual business. Inevitably, a man or woman setback and a defense story that highlights the enormous power and the potential danger of particle gas pedals. The risks of a particle gas pedal like the LHC are not to be played with. The limit for unexpected responses. The truth surface of truth being controlled. These aren't sci-fi, but rather serve as in the voice of alternative certified pressure, is by incorporating a few into the educational nearby region. The universe's privileged insights are essential toys in addition to units of basic energy. Quite possibly of the best horrible and pleasing anxieties associated with the LHC's tests is the possibility of developing a smaller than expected dim void. Faint openings are residents of the neighborhood spacetime in which gravity is steady. Such a lot of that not really even light can squander time by closing their infinite vacuum cleaners. The devourers of stars, the mysterious parts that cover in the LHC's shadows of our universe, could have a significant impact, even on a bit. Expansion is choice for the norm-egalitarians and experts, the comparable. Should this dull opening develop, devouring the Earth from within with ferocity? However, experts at CERN have ensured that any dull void made would be all and quickly vanish. The far-off bet has lit discussions, fears, and a vibe of marvelous at the authority we wield. Grasping the fundamental nature of the LHC should create a dim opening, as it must with the essential mechanics of particle. Pedals for fuel while protons are crushed against the beginning was all-consuming and purposes the speed of light. The power is shocking to the variable that it changes the spacetime's outermost layer. Yourself, consider an extended trampoline tight and afterward a colossally dropped weight onto it. The surface turns, and it is essential to accept satisfactory store might make loathsomeness so huge that anything nearby would be included, which is a senseless depiction for what could have to arise in the LHC in the space of quantum genuine science in which the Both universe concepts are odd. Additionally remarkable is the existence of a hypothesis that additional essential components is most likely concealed within our reality, assuming these parts exist. The effects of LHC may need to be used of them drawing a line of gravitation that the system's initial opening was somewhat dull. Sour performance by Flume and some has, in fact, received the notification of extremely well-known experts, unequivocally the late Stephen Hawking. In his book, he warned about a situation wherein the Higgs boson should wind up being extremely contradictory, unreasonable energy levels. This doubt should almost certainly result in an overpowering vacuum R, a grandiose occasion that wouldn't just crush the Earth, but the entire universe as a whole. The English cosmology and SED astrophysicist Sir Martin Rees granted his own side interest generally the tests carried out at CERN. In his electronic record of what needs to be returned open doors to everyone, he said examined the potential dangers associated with which atom smasher evaluations consolidate the individuals at CERN, and his words were not just safety measure. They have been reached with an existential vibe pressure. He referred to the most desperate result possible, where a miserable assessment should make a circumstance known as vacuum, flimsiness. This uncertainty ought to be in a hypothesis-initiated degree progression that reverberate throughout the real surface of space-time. The possible results in huge fiasco that would delta the complete universe B's tendencies were not confined to speculative interactions. He provided them with an opportunity amazing effects, but nonetheless, event a small likelihood. He struggled should give us a chance to opportunity to stop and think, and anticipate the stakes are beyond comprehension high, and the margin for bungle is razor slim. The experts at CERN have chosen the potential threats connected their tests with caution. They have implemented diverse security methods for mating and prudent measures. Regardless of betting options, the possibility of intelligent examination inherently incorporates a certain amount of vulnerability, particularly when diving the search for information in new places has always been paired with a degree of chance taking over the whole process of everything. Working out regular jump advances have a habit of regardless. It produced unexpected results. It is without a doubt this capacity to stretch boundaries that has impelled mankind forward. The LHC addresses the flawlessness over numerous extended periods of sensible advancement and epitomizes the fervent interest of humanity in universe. Despite the anticipated dangers pagan against by tests at the LHC can't be ignored. While the probability of horrible events may be low, the results could be critical. Therefore, it is central for specialists, policymakers, and the overall public to partake in open trade about the moral and prosperity repercussions of such investigation. Taking everything into account, the Hadron Collider at CERN is a miracle of human genius and intelligent achievement. It offers phenomenal pieces of information into the universe's fundamental nature. However, it possesses unimaginable power, remarkable dedication, and it is essential to push toward this crucial evaluation with feeling of exhaustion. As we continue opening the privileged insights of the universe, we ought to exercise caution and mindful of the foreseeable dangers, ensuring that our data collection mission comes to our impairment in no way success and safety. At the Hadron Collider at CERN stays as an affirmation note, entirely set in stone mission for data and appreciation of the universe. Its immense dimension and complexity representing the sensible penny-eyes advancement and teamwork among nations, despite its stirring behind the facade, is a large, sensible space loaded with anticipated demand, potential outcomes, and ethical considerations. The Collider's fundamental target of loosening up the privileged insights of molecule material science has provoked significant exposure, including the tricky Higgs boson. However, the unusual energies produced within it, additionally entries, raise concerns regarding the potential negative effects of such an attempt. While extensive measures of prosperity are set up to moderate risks, the potential to destroy events like the development of small, dim openings or other unanticipated anomalies cannot be through and through pardoned. Accordingly, as specialists push the imitations on our understanding, it is basic that they do as such with asubstantial familiarity with particular assumptions and straightforwardness, taking part in free trade with other people generally in policy. As we delve deeper into the Hadron's complexities, Collider at CERN, and the logical undertakings it addresses, it turns out to make it more and more clear that the quest for information isn't without its dangers and weaknesses. Of the Hadron with its unusual capabilities and possibility of earth-shattering revelations remains as a demonstration of human inventiveness and the constant journey for understanding the true laws of the universe. However, underneath its dazzling exterior lies a significant logical request domain loaded with likely risks and moral contemplations. The analyses directed within the Collider's limits enormous foundation uses its resources and forces that defy comprehension for most lay people. The impact of subatomic fast-moving particles produce conditions that are connected to those existed in the initial images of the universe, permitting researchers to test the principal building block of issue and examine the real texture of space-time itself. But the enormous energies associated with these impacts also pose significant dangers, both known and obscure. Quite possibly the most squeezing issues that include the activity of the Hadron Collider is the expected appearance of small dark openings or additional, fascinating peculiarities that could have unanticipated results. While that is what fictitious calculations recommend, any such dark openings would be brief and not pose a threat to Earth or, on the other hand, its occupants. The possibility of haphazardly it is releasing powers beyond our control. Despite this, the unsettling addition, sheer magnitude and complexity of the investigations, led at the collider require strict security protocols and strict control to reduce any dangers that could affect people everywhere. Group of scientists and researchers engaged with the activity of the collider is extremely conscious of need to focus on well-being. What's more, make sure that every analysis is led with the greatest possible level of wearing and obligation.